Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Today with Andrew, we're going to speak about cost of inaction of not doing software modernization when you need to do it, and also hidden costs of the actual modernization process. Since not all software owners understand that in the process of modernization there are lots of costs that you will have to face and which will influence your financial planning and your product planning in general. And all of them need to be taken into account. So I'll start with costs of inaction. When deciding on starting the modernization project, the software owner needs to understand what happens if the modernization is delayed. Usually, the decision to make modernization happens after some kind of major hiccup, some kind of major outage, a very big complaint from the clients, some service stops working, and usually that's already late. That means that it had to be started actually earlier. But let's make one step backwards and see what are the calls which the software owner faces when the decision comes. So the first one is high maintenance spend. If you see that a substantial amount of your development budget goes to project maintenance, usually it means that the quality of the code that is being used is not very good. And that may also mean that the code was developed a long time ago and is being maintained for a very prolonged period of time, does not conform to current trends, current technologies, probably has problems integrating with newer technologies. And all of that comes down to the fact that the developers need to fix it very often. Lots of complaints from the clients, lots of issues being spotted and tracked, and you incur high maintenance costs. So that's the first sign that you need to do modernization is your maintenance costs are very high. Probably they are even higher than your development costs. The next point is the constant risk of data breach and loss of important data. Older systems are obviously less protected against current ways of hacking. And the legal consequences of losing sensible customer data right now are very high. And if your system gets hacked, it's obviously a major hiccup, and the legal consequences can be way higher than you doing modernization in time. Next point would be increased downtime and constant outages. If you are facing constant outages and if your downtime does not conform to the KPIs that you set in advance, does not conform to the generally accepted KPIs for the industry where you are, that may also mean that you need to look in the direction of modernization of your software. Constant outages basically mean that your code breaks often, that your servers are not able to handle the load, and that means that your clients are suffering from that, and your clients will be complaining about that, and you will be losing business because of that. So obviously, this is something that needs to be taken care of, and very seldom it is. Quick fix. Usually it is a question of rebuilding the architecture of the system or substantially rebuilding the code base and servers, and that is the question of modernization of your system. The next point would be the dependency on vendors. Over time, your system may accumulate lots of various types of integration with third-party services, And those third-party services, again, over time, can become a pretty big item in your budget. The fact that you are using lots of various third-party services which perform many major functions in your system may mean that your system was not really planned properly in advance, and the functionality was developed or integrated on the go, and there is no proper architecture supporting it, and there was no financial planning for this initially. Usually, when you have lots of third-party services integrations, which may not always be necessary, that means that the functionality was implemented as a basically it was a fast decision. It was maybe a cheap way to there was maybe a cheap way to do it because you had some kind of request from the client, but that functionality is not properly integrated into the architecture of your system. And again, over time you depend on those vendors. They become a serious part of your budget, and you may consider, when upgrading the system, you may consider change those vendors and develop your custom functionality to replace the functions that they are doing for you. And all of that together comes down to the loss of your competitive advantage. So when you have higher maintenance costs, which increase the price of your product probably, since your costs are higher, when you have high downtime, when you have often outages, the security of your system is not very good, and there is a risk of data breach, and there is high dependency on vendors. All of that comes down to the loss of your competitive advantage, since the quality of the product will be decreased. The risk of the security risk will be high, and generally the competitors who have newer products which were developed based on better architecture may beat you simply with the costs and with higher security and with faster release of the new features, and you will end up losing your place on the market. So all of that together usually brings the software owner to the decision to do the modernization. But in the process of modernization, you need to take to account some calls which are not very obvious, and Andrei will speak about them now.
Thank you, Igor.
Andrei, please
Yes,
take your turn.
thank you. So, Igor just covered several points why delayed modernization could create like additional costs for a company. And now let's speak about like some hidden costs that could create a snowball effect when you're planning your budget of modernization. So let's cover a few of them. So the first point would be excessive technical debt. So what is technical debt is like it's shortcuts, quick fixes, or maybe different hard codes that developers do during the development in order to meet tight deadlines and like any additional requirements that appears during the development. So all of such small small parts of the code that is a technical debt make the whole system really fragile. And when you try to modernize a part of the system with excessive technical debt, you should not only develop a feature, but to understand how the system should work, and then create a new code. Because you can't just rely on the code with technical debt. So for sure, this technical debt increase maintenance cost and reduces agility and has a lot of performance issues. So the next point would be the code complexity. So when you are doing the modernization, you not only create a new system from the scratch with a clear software requirement specification, but you should actually create this software requirement specification, analyzing the previous outdated system with fully understanding all the technical decisions that were made, all the architectures, shortcuts, and different approaches that were made like 10 or 15 years ago. So analyzing of the code is like a big and time-consuming issue, and the more complex is the code, the more time you need to understand it. Next point would be the product delays. So while you are focusing on modernization, you should still maintain and add new feature to the like a main product that work for you. But because you try to do the work in parallel, the new features are delayed, and it could impact your business and your income for the quarter for the year, and it creates like it could create a huge loading on the budget. So the next point would be the maintenance of poorly planned and developed software. I think this one is pretty obvious because the quality of the system really influence on how much time you should spend to make the system works and keep it stable on the production server. Yeah, I think that's all the point I wanted to cover today.
Okay, thank you, Andrew. Important thing to highlight again is the run of parallel systems. I wanted to add something to that. So when you are in the process of modernization and when you are about to launch the new system, usually you will have two systems running in parallel, which means that your costs for maintenance and for basically team efforts, they pretty much double. Because you're not replacing it like in one day. There, you will probably have months when two systems will be running in parallel. You will need to maintain the existing system, and at the same time, you will be gradually launching maybe separate services of the new system. And first of all, that requires lots of efforts from the development side. And at the same time, that requires additional financial spending because you cannot cover the run of two parallel systems with the same modernization or development budget that you have. So when you are doing the financial analysis of the feasibility of the modernization and when you are actually deciding to do it and then you try to calculate the cost, this needs to be taken into account. And while doing that, the advice of experienced technical advisors for modernization and experienced technical advisors for financial part is necessary as well, because the development team that already develops and maintains the existing product, it is used to this product's current state. And often, this development team, first of all, it is not often capable of doing the modernization project in parallel with maintaining the existing software. And second, since this team has been supporting this project for a prolonged period of time, probably many, many years, if you are doing modernization, you probably have something for a decade. And probably your main engineers have been with you for all this time or a substantial amount of this time. and they were working with all the technologies and with the existing systems. And yes, they do know the system very well, and they do know how it works very well, and their experience is very valuable. But at the same time, they may find it difficult to run a separate modernization project that will build everything from scratch, following the newer technologies and utilizing the newer technologies. And also, you will find it challenging to calculate the costs of this endeavor, because the existing team, since it does not do modernization projects as a regular activity, let's call it that way, a regular activity, they will find it challenging to calculate the costs and the effort of rebuilding the system. And that's why when doing financial analysis of your future modernization, you will actually need an experienced contractor that will calculate the costs, calculate the efforts properly based on the experience of doing many modernization projects. And maybe you will even need a proper financial advisor that will help you to calculate all the potential costs for your business, because those are not only technical costs, those are also costs of you, for example, not releasing your features in time, the cost of running several teams in parallel, the increased maintenance costs, so on and so forth. I mean, that's a very, very big question, and some people spend their entire careers trying to solve it, basically. So it's not something that we can discuss right away, and it's not even something that we can directly advise about. But again, if you want to have your modernization project assessed, if you want to understand the technical part of the project, and you want to calculate the cost for building the newer system, we will be happy to help you. Please contact us on our contact form on the website, or you can find us in LinkedIn, and we are happy to answer any questions you have. Please write to us on our email, in our contact form, or in LinkedIn, and see you later.